Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now before I start, if you like the content of my channel, please like and subscribe as it helps the channel to grow. Now, what we have in front of us today is a Grand Seiko, and this is one of their quartz models, and I think it is absolutely lovely. It's one of, out of all the Grand Seikos so far I've got to try, this is possibly my favourite so far. I do like this. Now, before I get too far into a review, you've guessed it, I've got to say a big thank you to Ryan and the team over at Francis Gaye of Coventry. I keep harping on about them, but they really have got so much stock, so many incredible watches to go in there, have a look at, try on the wrist. They're superb. But as I say, if you can't get to them, simply give Ryan or one of the team a call, and I'm certain they'll be able to sort you the watch out you want. Okay then, so look at this beauty. I must admit, it is absolutely gorgeous. It just feels so nice and solid in the hand. Dimensions of this one. This is 40mm by 13.4mm thick by 46.5 lug to lug, and a bracelet size of 20mm. Now, let's have a look at that dial, shall we? Let's see in there. It's got this really cool kind of blue tinge to it. It's a shame because my studio lights here really don't do it justice. You have to see this watch outside to really appreciate just how glossy and superb that dial is. Now, as I say, this one here, if you do look at this dial, it's got a lovely sheen to that sapphire crystal there. The dial is lovely. It's got this blue hue to it. And as you can see, we all know this is where Grand Seiko excel. The quality of the hands and hour markers on this and that second hand are second to none. They really know their stuff when it comes to the detail of the dial. The hands, incredibly well glossed. We have this bevel edge running down the side of them. And for me personally, I like these because it's got lume in it. I do like to see a bit of lume on the hands and hour markers. I know not everyone does, but I like to see it just so I can actually read the watch at night, so I do like that. Now, you may notice in blue down here it says GMT because we do have that. Let's get this. You can see down here we do have a GMT hand, and it is, if I show you actually how it works on this one. So if I unscrew the crown, it has got a screw down crown. If I go just the first click, let's see if I can do it. I think that's it. And now, no, not quite far enough, sorry. No, that's too far. There we go. So you can see I can actually change the hour movements there. So if you're flying between different time zones, you don't actually have to stop the movement completely. You can just adjust the hour increments, which makes life a lot easier. As we say, obviously this is a hacking movement, but we'll talk about a movement a bit more in a minute. Let's screw that crown back in. A little bit awkward as it is sat quite deeply into the case there. But I say the lume is actually quite good on this watch, as you would expect, being that it is actually a Grand Seiko. Now, as we come, one thing actually before I move away from that dial, just look at the nice elegant movement of that second hand. Now, some quartz movements, they do have a tiny bit of a bounce, or just they don't always line up with the markers necessarily. This one lines up absolutely perfect with the markers, and when you look at that hand, it is just so solid. It just hits the marker straight away. There's no slight movement to it. That is all to do with this 9F movement, and it is a bit of a star movement as quartz movements go. Now, as we come out from that, we have this gorgeous sapphire crystal, and it really does kind of have a real sheen to it. Really is highly polished. Obviously, it's a non-rotating bezel, as this is a GMT bezel on this. so you can read the second time zone. So if you were to read, obviously normal time for normal hands, it is, what is it, 3 minutes, coming on for 3 minutes to 2. But if you were to look at the GMT time, this is actually 3 minutes to 10 in the morning. So that's how you do read that. Now, as we come away from this, the case itself, sort of like a tonneau style case, we have this lovely brushwork going along the sides there. We do have the polishing above, which is all very nicely done. And the end links, how they blend into this, are very, very nice. As you can see from this side, we have the Grand Seiko screw down crown. This watch, after all, does have 100 meters of water resistancy, and we have drilled lugs, which I'm quite surprised at, really. I didn't think they'd have that, but this is something I find incredibly useful, because I like to swap, say one day I'm wearing a bracelet, one day I might want to wear a leather strap or an NATO strap, whatever. Let's just have a look how good the end links are. Tiny bit of movement there, but that is nothing. A little bit more on that side. I am surprised. A little bit of a shame, but there you go. It's still all good. The actual bracelet on this watch is an oyster style 3-link affair, and it does feel very nice and solid. It is actually screws on this one. The clasp itself is a fold over style. Now, it is very nice, locks down nicely. The only thing I would say, if I had to be a little, have a little bit of a gripe, is there's no micro adjustment on there, which is a real shame, really, because you're then reliant on half links, and I would have personally liked to have seen micro adjustment. And one small haggle I have had with Grand Seikos in the other ones I've reviewed before is this rather large offset there. Now, I'd understand if you were to pull the crown, the clasp back, but it's a push pull. So why that is such a gap there, I have no idea, but there you go. The back of the watch is a solid case back on this. I haven't removed the blue sticker because it's obviously not my watch. So that's how it looks. I may have had a bit of a gripe about the clasp, and this is one thing I've said before with Grand Seikos. They really do struggle when it comes to get the clasps. The bracelet, I think, is lovely. It's really nice. It works really well. But the clasp, I really do think they need to improve. Now, let's try this on my wrist. I still think this does look nice. Quick wrist check. I'm actually wearing another Seiko at the moment. I'm wearing the Mini Alpinist on a Zin bracelet. And Bob over there, Bob has got a Oris 10-day big pilot, pro pilot, I believe. So good for him. Now, let's have a look here. Now, I do like this. Now, obviously, we have a long bracelet on this one, which is what I like to see. But I think it does look good. My wrist size is 7¼ inches. And I really do like this watch. I think it just looks so... It's a sporty kind of elegant... watch, this one. Definitely more sports orientated with the bezel and the polishing on there. Well, one thing I should have mentioned, actually, the 9F movement, which is housed in this, is good for less than 10 seconds a year. That really is exceptional, because I've done a video before where I've showed that some people seem to think that Quartz watches are super accurate. That's not always the case. This is one of the most accurate movements you will see when it comes to Quartz. It's only bettered by a few. Battery life of one of these is 3 years. The movement itself has got 9 joules and is fully serviceable and does look the part, to be fair. It really is quite a handsome looking movement within that. It's got quite a bit of anti-magnetic and shock resistancy to it also. Now, if for some bizarre reason this watch was to start losing or gaining, say, I don't know, an extra couple of seconds a year, you can actually regulate this watch. It has got a function on the backside of the movement where you can actually regulate it. So they really have thought of everything on this one. It's a really nice grab and go watch. Price wise though, it is a Grand Seiko, so you are paying Grand Seiko prices, and this is a £4,000 watch, so it is quite pricey. Let me know in the comments below if you would spend that much on a quartz watch. Okay guys, all the best and stay safe out there. Bye.